The business apps market, there are a few things that, in my experience, what I'm seeing over the last 10 years, 12 years, first of all, people started implementing these business apps more for business process automation. That's kind of where the deployment started. But I feel that as time goes on, people are really looking to leverage the information that is getting captured and turn it more into a rich analytical source to drive better decision making, better, more efficient business processes, go beyond just the automation. So from a business apps market, I think that the scope of the business app, ERP or the typical core kernel application, the scope is expanding dramatically, and that's number one. Number two is that Infor feels that general purpose applications that really doesn't address a specific market segment is no longer really the way people want to deploy business apps, because they want to see and adopt a system that actually adapts to their business processes, their micro vertical challenge. So that's sort of driving more need for depth of functionality in the product. There are a number of conversations that I've had with many of our major customers. CIOs in general dread upgrades, right? And we have Infor applications deployed at customers who have probably not upgraded in many years. The CIOs are really looking for a platform that will allow them to have a durable infrastructure. What I mean by durable is that once I put that in, it gives me the level of agility that I need. As business processes change, I can make that change without having to make open heart surgery to the application. And number two, allow me to upgrade solutions on my timeline that doesn't inflict too much pain on my infrastructure in terms of the time, money, and resources I have to spend to get those solutions upgraded. So really, they're looking for a platform that will shed customizations, create durability, give agility to the IT organization, so they can actually be ahead of the users rather than be behind the 8 ball. Our biggest growth market in general, and especially in India, is the manufacturing, which is a significant portion of Infor's revenue stream. So manufacturing, I would rank as the number one industry vertical, and micro verticals within flavors of manufacturing is our focus area number one. Number two is healthcare. We have, with the acquisition of Lawson, we have a best-in-class footprint for healthcare organizations, both to run their back office as well as for clinical integration, bringing clinical information and back office information together. So those are, solution footprint we feel has got significant potential in a market like India. So let me give you an example. Ferrari, cars, as you know, have hundreds of thousands of combinations of configuration that a customer can choose to make that car. That's number one. Number two, the customer is typically a highly demanding customer. They can change their mind, make a change to the configuration they chose up until the last minute before the car gets produced. So the key interesting point here is, how do you cope with that level of change and yet deliver that car on time and get the right part to the right station with the right skill set of labor waiting at that station to get that car completed, right? So that, to me, is a micro vertical requirement. So we worked with Ferrari in this case and built what we call assembly control functionality, which essentially plans for the right part, what they call a tray, to arrive at the right station. When the car comes there to a station, it stays there for 42 minutes before it moves on to the next station. You got to have the work completed in that time, have the right part there, and have the right labor there with the right skill set to do it. That's a classic example of what we call a micro vertical. You look at on the other side, like dairy companies, we have customers in that micro vertical. In dairy company, you need to understand the butterfat content in milk, and you pay the grower or the farmer based on the butterfat content. You decide what kind of products you can make, whether you make cheese versus ice cream and so on, based on the butterfat that you get in that milk. That's a micro vertical requirement. To us, having that built into the product so the customer doesn't have to work around using spreadsheets outside the system to solve their business process and not have to customize the software, that is our key part of differentiation. So our idea here is the following. One, we're aggressively increasing our partner channel. So we will have local partners who will get trained on our software, implement that software, and continue to thrive as a business, but using off-the-shelf software that is built for their micro vertical that we can deliver. That's number one. Number two, we built an infrastructure, technology infrastructure, that will allow a partner to build their own IP, intellectual property, into the solution suite without having to actually customize the product. So by doing that, the partner ecosystem can thrive and grow, while Infor can actually be the enabler for that growth. I think the SMB market is well suited for cloud-first strategy, simply because, as I mentioned earlier, so SMB organizations don't have the deep pockets like the larger enterprises do, and they don't have IT skill set in-house to be able to manage a business application scope that we're talking about to run somebody's business processes. So it makes sense for going to market with a cloud-first strategy, and that is clearly where we're focused as well. We have an ERP solution and an extended solution suite for discrete manufacturing, for example, that actually targets the SMB market, runs in the cloud without compromising any of the functionality that you would expect that you need to run your business, yet not have to invest in local infrastructure and get the functionality that you need to get. That's really, I think, the ideal model for SMB market.